All right, we're here at Content Marketing World again, and I want you to introduce yourself because I think you have an interesting story. Because I wasn't supposed to be speaking to you; I was speaking to
That's
somebody
right.
else, and I want to hear more about like what you're talking about and what your background is.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Jennifer Harmel. I am Executive Vice President at Annuitas. I'm responsible for the strategy organization within our company, and I'm also one of the principals of the company.
So it's strategist and annuitist, right?
That's
What
right.
what is your sector? What are you kind of? What is your focus area?
We focus on enterprise level companies really across all industries, mostly B2B companies, but we do also do a little bit of B2C.
Oh wow! So
Yeah.
what, you offer strategy and different content
It's
services.
not just strategy, actually. That's what I'm specifically focused on most of the time. But we really look at the whole entire demand generation process. Our tagline is demand transformation. So we help large companies that have issues kind of tying it all together. Building content is one of their biggest issues. And we help them not only figure out what their strategy should be, but we also help them implement, and then we optimize once their programs are launched.
Great. And so I think we all have the misconception that the bigger you get, the easier it must be.
Oh, no,
But
not
it's
at
it's
all.
all
It's
it's
the
the exact
opposite.
opposite,
It's
right?
actually the opposite, especially with enterprise companies. Many of them have grown through acquisitions over the years, and so they have all kinds of disparate data systems and little mini organizations within. So
Hmm.
it's definitely a challenge to tie all that together.
And then there's also a lot of history with these companies and a lot of structures that are in place that have been there because that's the way we used to do things.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
so you see marketing teams be underneath different, executive levels where it is really a barrier.
Right, and sometimes conflicting goals. And one of the things that we talk about a lot, in fact, our CEO, Carlos Hidalgo, wrote a book really focused on this, is change management. Because while we talk about demand process transformation, it's really change management. You are changing the way that a very large company approaches marketing and
Mhm.
sales as well.
And so what's some of the feedback you get from your customers like early in the engagement and then afterwards? Like, do they get to that happy place?
They do. Initially, we get through the strategy phase and they're wowed by how much work is done, how much research, and what a better understanding they typically have of their customers thanks to the research that we do. But then inevitably they go through a little stage of being kind of overwhelmed.
Hmm.
And since we're here at Content Marketing World, I'll say that in general that the overwhelmed feeling is because of all of the content that we tell them that they need to produce because they don't have the right content.
Yeah.
They have a lot of content, but not the right kind. And then as we move through implementation, they start to see the change. Anybody that was maybe perhaps a little bit averse to the change usually does come around when they start to see just how everything is going to come together. And of course, during optimization, when they start seeing the results, they
Yeah.
speak for themselves.
Yeah. I mean, the overwhelmness where, a lot of the times it comes to, well, I get it, but other people don't get it yet. And I need to figure out the messaging to them. Do you guys see, because I know you're talking about at the executive level, do
Mm-hmm.
you see the idea that they're starting to embrace some of these concepts earlier on?
I do. I think so. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with the fact that they're almost being forced to.
Hmm.
So, marketing is now obviously not just pretty pictures, right? Everybody's got to report back on what's the return on your investment. And so
Yeah.
if you're not putting the effort and the time into developing a cohesive strategy and doing things the right way,
Hmm.
you're going to have a really big problem on your hands. So, yeah,
And,
definitely coming
and
around.
I can't believe you still see, at today, people doing this without a strategy, without
Oh,
something that says, don't do this and do this.
absolutely. People still think more is better,
Mhm.
or, quantity is important versus quality. You'd be amazed.
Today, real time is the only time that counts. To stay relevant, you have to stay ahead. Your customers want the right information, right now, wherever they are. So, how do you meet the demands of today's customers? By marketing in context. Context accounts for a customer's interaction with your brand. So each touch builds on the next, creating more meaningful experiences for your customers. At Sitecore, we call this context marketing. To do it well, you need marketing technology that has three things: contextual intelligence, content management, and omni-channel automation. Contextual intelligence gives you the information you need about your consumers, so the content you manage is more relevant and is automatically delivered wherever your customers are. The Sitecore Experience platform was built for context marketing, so you can create a more personalized customer experience. Demand more from your marketing technology. Demand more from marketing. Own the experience. Sitecore.
And then, yeah, there's no measurements. There's still how many page views did we get? How many followers do we have?
Well, more importantly, so you see a lot of that. How many followers do we have? Yay, we did a great job. But my question is always, okay, so what did that lead to in terms of revenue? I understand awareness is important. Obviously, your brand is important. But at the end of the day, these companies need to make money. So how do you turn that into closed-won deals?
So what are some interesting stories that you can tell us? Because I know sometimes you get the "don't say nothing" clause in the agreements. But what are some of the interesting stories you could tell us about some successes you've seen over the past year?
Oh, gosh. There have been so many. I mean, it's always amazing to look at the results and compare to industry benchmarks, and you're 3 or 4 times that, and being able to look at the highly sophisticated analytics and get down to the level of detail where you can see literally this particular asset out of all 100 assets. This particular asset is the one most likely to lead to a closed-won deal.
Yeah.
And to see the looks on your clients' faces where first they're like, they can't even believe you can get to that level of detail.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. It's such a journey, and these journeys usually last years. It's not months. It takes a long time for change management, but you build up good relationships, you watch people transform, and then you see the programs become successful. It's really rewarding.
Are you seeing that people are starting to embrace the idea of breaking out of campaigns and starting to do smaller components rather than a big push? So starting to make smaller changes here and there?
Not really. In fact, our approach is get away from campaigns, get away from one-offs. We don't like the word campaign at Annuitas. We prefer the word program. And when we talk a lot about perpetual demand generation. So what that means is, you're not creating a piece of content and then blasting it out and then that's a campaign and you're done. It's more of understand your buyers, build the appropriate content that speaks to your buyers, and then from both an inbound and outbound perspective, you have what you need to run a program for 18 to 24 months. Obviously, you're going to tweak it along the way. As far as starting small, our approach, if an organization needs to start small, is more of taking a pilot approach.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, maybe pick a geo or pick a business unit. But you definitely have to accommodate all of the personas within that business unit and all of the stages of the buying process.
And in the enterprise, there's more personas than there's content usually on the website.
Exactly. The buying committees are growing and growing. So there's just all that much more to accommodate.
Yeah. So as we start to kind of wrap this up, what do you hope people get out of your session today? Because it's not necessarily to the practitioner; it's more to that executive, right? It's the conversation that we've all been waiting for people to have about this, because we need more buy-in, because we need more strategy, we need more interdepartment relationships, we need more customer stories, we need all this access that we can't get until we get the buy-in.
I think the message I want people to take away from the session tomorrow is, as a leader, you really have to drive the conversation. And if your people are just generating content to generate content, my biggest piece of advice would be stop. Stop for now until you have a chance to understand your buyers and build the right content.
Stop and see if anybody notices, right?
Right.
If your company dies, does anybody go, oh man, I wish they wouldn't have done that?
Exactly.
So that's awesome. Well, I hope you have a great session, and thanks for the time.
Me too. All right.
There are so many marketing tools to choose from these days, more than 3,500 the last time we checked. If you're overwhelmed and confused, you're not alone. With so many options, marketers are having a difficult time trying to select which tools will meet their team's unique needs. So why do the top content marketing teams choose DVHQ? It's because of our unique focus. Let me explain. The typical content marketing process looks something like this. You start with a defined strategy, then you ideate and brainstorm with your team. Create a plan of attack, produce the content, optimize it, then publish and promote the content, and finally, review the analytics to see how your content performed. As you may know, most marketing software tools are built to support the back half of this process. There are countless CMS platforms, email marketing tools, marketing automation systems, social publishing tools, analytics suites, etc. The list goes on and on. But here's the thing. The back half of the process is not where companies are really struggling. What marketing teams are really struggling with is the upfront part of the process, the strategy, the ideation, planning, workflow, and collaboration during the content production process. Sound familiar? If you don't get your upfront strategy and planning right, the odds of consistently publishing great content is, well, not very good. So these upfront areas are where we focus 100%. We don't want to reinvent wheels or be a jack of all trades, master of none type of content marketing solution. DVHQ is on a mission to build a content marketing platform that makes it incredibly easy for you to plan and produce high quality content more efficiently. This approach then gives you the freedom to integrate and connect DVHQ to your preferred downstream tools. So, if you're looking for help with strategy, ideation, planning, and collaboration, then we're the solution for you.